Good morning, Shiloh family. How's it going? Yes, it's so good to see you guys. It's great to worship God together, to be transformed in community and open in His truth. Has anyone been in a crowd lately? You know what I'm talking about? A whole bunch of people getting together, something exciting going on. Maybe it was the new iPhone or that exciting movie. You were at some event or some opportunity and people gathered together. People started talking. There was a buzz in the air. You know what that electrifying feeling that happens in a crowd? You know what I'm talking about? The crowd is interesting. And today, we're going to gain some insights into how that affects us. How does a crowd affect us? Just like it did for Jesus. We've already seen over the last few weeks the failure of Peter, the failure of Judas. We've looked at the political and religious leaders that they rejected and condemned Jesus. And today, we're going to be looking at what happens in the crowd. I mean, could the crowd have a clue? They're all together, they're around Jesus, they've experienced some of His miracles. Could the crowd have a clue? Could they choose that, a week ago when they said we want to crown Him, was it possible that they could stop the crucifixion? But they all cried out together, "Away with this man, and release to us Barabbas, a man who'd been thrown into prison for an insurrection started in the city and for murder." We see the crowd's reaction, rejecting Jesus as a person and His mission. He didn't fit into their narrative. He didn't fulfill their agenda. Barabbas, the guy who they rejected, the guy they accused Jesus of being, goes free. I mean, the crowd yelled, "Crucify, crucify." And I think you and I can do the same. I just want you to stop and process this for a moment. To recognize there's people in the crowd who a week earlier wanted to crown Him. They wanted to put Him as the leader, the Messiah. They wanted Him to be in control, but not at this moment. There are people who saw miracles, and now they want to crucify Him. There are people who saw Him teach, heard His words, and felt His love, and now they want to crucify Him. There are people who were fed in the multitude, and now they want to crucify Jesus. I mean, Pilate tried to declare Him innocent. That didn't work. He tried sending Jesus to King Herod. That didn't work. Finally, he said to the crowd, "I'm going to punish Jesus, and then I'm going to release Him." That didn't even work. I mean, you realize how corrupt Pilate has to be? He's going to punish Jesus, an innocent man, to within an inch of his life, just to get the people, the crowd, off of his back and leave Him alone. And so we see there's this tradition that Pilate observed. Every Passover, as you know, that goes all the way back to the book of Exodus, Pilate would release one prisoner, whomever the Jews selected. That was Pilate's kind of symbolism and way of keeping with the spirit of Passover. And so he would set one person free. He thought, surely they're going to want Jesus to be free. Look how they adored Him earlier. And look how bad Barabbas is. Why would they pick Jesus over Barabbas? He thought, this will get me out of this tight spot. And so Pilate addressed them once more, desiring to release Jesus. But they kept shouting, "Crucify Him, crucify Him." Have you ever been in that moment? I don't mean this exact moment, but a moment where you were swept up by the expectation and energy of the crowd, positive or even negative. Because as I read this, it's hard to believe what's happening. They release a criminal. They crucify the king, the one who was so kind. But then I recognize human behavior, right? The pull of society's expectation that you and I can do things we never thought we would do in a crowd because of the crowd. See, I think if we're not careful, we start to have this crowded identity. How can the crowd affect us? We start to have a crowded identity because we want to be on the in. in the know, a part of what's happening. So that's what's going on with the crowd. They have a secret to something because there's a whole bunch of them gathered together, and being human in nature, we kind of want to be in the crowd, not on the outside of the crowd. And so have you ever seen how your identity can become based in your community? So just to let you know, today's going to be a bit challenging because we're talking about the fact that as humans, we're all a part of different crowds and how that can affect us. Have you ever seen how your identity can actually start to be developed and based in your community? We start to say things like, I'm a part of, maybe it's a race, or a gender, or a hobby, or a church, or some group, or some political, or some achievement. We start to identify who we are because of who we are with. The need that we start to develop to hear that you are one of us. You are welcome. You are like us. Therefore, you matter. We can literally become who we're around, thinking that people need me. Therefore, I have value. I have belonging. And we will end up making people change around us so that we will look good, or we start to adopt what the crowd has so we look good. Others, they pursue what I call an anti-identity. They don't want to be a part of the crowd. They want to be a part of the anti-crowd. I'm not like those people, whoever those people are. Therefore, I'm special, or my little group who doesn't want to be like them is special. I shop at Target, not Walmart, right? Because we think if I don't think like them, if I don't behave like them, I'm better than the them, whoever the them is. See, this crowded identity can really mess us up spiritually if we're not careful. It'll form in our lives and our thinking and our values very easily. And we start to become inflated by praise. We start to get broken by criticism. And we can literally give the place of God, the one who made you, loves you, and sets you in security as a new creation in Christ. We start to give this crowd the place of God in our lives. We want them to tell us why we matter. We want their praise. We can even obey them without question, hoping for some morsel of blessing just by being in the crowd. See, the crowd can easily defeat you if you pay more attention to their voice than you do God's. So whose words are too powerful in your life? What group may have taken God's place in your life? Where are you bolstered and inflated by the group's praise? This isn't just teenagers. This isn't just college. All of us can stumble and struggle with this very issue of being in with the crowd. And so whose words are just too powerful in your life? It may have even taken God's place in your life.